Hey guys, I'm Mark,
I'm Alon.
and welcome to another episode of The Next Man Up. My brother, how you feeling today?
My man, I'm doing good, dude. Just running in at the end of a cold. So, excuse me, listeners, if I sound like I am got a frog in my throat or my voice sounds a little deeper. I'm not trying to pull a Barry White or anything like that. It's just the cold. That's all it is.
Admittedly, I have enjoyed the after effects of a cold at times when I'm trying to sing because I feel like I can hit some of those low notes that are usually unavailable to me.
That's awesome.
I don't know that it's always. I don't know that it's always worth going through the symptoms, but it is a maybe a side benefit.
Yeah, that's awesome. Oh my gosh. Anyway, so dude, what's going on, man? What's up for today?
So I have noticed some themes and some threads that are cutting across the various things, the work that I'm doing, whether it's in the coaching space or in the next man up space. And there was this thread that came through recently around margin and overscheduling and being too busy. And I've done some writing and reflecting on it in the coaching space, and thought maybe we could tackle this in the next man up space, or specifically as we're parenting our kids. How do we think about the activities and the scheduling? And what is too much? What constitutes too busy? As is often the case here, there's an article that we can draw from. Again, I'll always make these articles available in the show notes for listeners to reference. But this one is entitled "Extracurricular Activities Hurt Kids When After-School Activities Become a Burden." In essence, what they're saying is sometimes we can over schedule our kids. And so I thought maybe we could just converse with that topic in mind and share thoughts, maybe some of our own experiences, and let's see where this takes us.
Yeah. That's actually a good topic. Because it's hard, the question, first to me that pops up is okay, what's so bad about having extracurricular activities? What's the positives, I should say? Let me ask in a different way.
Yeah, what's good about it?
Yeah, growing up, I remember playing football, playing Little League baseball, soccer. I had martial arts. And, of course, then there was extracurricular activities that weren't necessarily organized per se, normal organized sports and games and whatever clubs and stuff. But I had dance, and hip hop culture. I was really big into, especially in high school. So before I started getting into rhyming a lot and breakdancing a lot. And so, at first I'm thinking there's positives to extracurricular activities. For me growing up, I'm thinking it was positive because I had an outlet to be creative. I had an outlet for to get energy expended, because I had a lot of energy, man. Sometimes I miss that energy, because now I'm oh man, I'm getting older. I'm oh dude, I do not have the energy. But I was like a little energized bunny, man. Give me about 30 minutes of sleep and I was ready to go.
Yeah.
So there was expending energy. There was community sense. You got to make new friends in the different areas of extracurricular activities that I got to make new friends. So, there's a lot of like blessings within being part of extracurricular activities that I remember. And so for my kids, I want them to have that.
Yeah,
I want them to
absolutely.
have an opportunity for all that stuff, from friendships to, creative outlets to, like, learning things that maybe they couldn't just learn by themselves, like being part of a team, being aware of others more than yourself, and expending energy, and thinking of college applications. The colleges look for that stuff,
Right.
on applications and stuff. So to me, I think there's a lot of positives. I don't know. What do you say when it comes to the positives?
Oh yeah,
of extracurricular activities?
absolutely. I totally agree. And from the homeschool perspective, we've mentioned this in the past here, but from the homeschool perspective, it's even more important for us to get other voices into the lives of our kids, because all they hear is mom and dad, and that's fine. That choice has been a good choice for us, but it means we've had to be a little bit more intentional about other teachers, other role models, other coaches to speak into their lives and reinforce the things that we're trying to enforce. And to your point, use up energy and to express who you are, whether it's through athletics or through our artistic expressions or opportunities. Yes, I believe in all of those. I think it's in experimenting with those that you begin to really discover who you are and how you're wired. And, it's kind of the difference between reading about something and actually experiencing it. You can read ESPN, the magazine, or Sports Illustrated all day long, but it's nothing like strapping on the pads and going out and playing football or getting onto the basketball court and playing basketball, whatever it is. There's experiential knowledge that's so beneficial that comes from those types of activities. The challenge is, though, when is it too much? And is it possible to overdo that? And what are the reasons why we as parents might tend to overdo that for our kids? But in terms of the activities themselves, yeah, man, I'm all about giving kids exposure and giving them opportunities to do the after school things in a more formalized way.
Yeah. It's funny as you say, like why, what, in other words, like when is it too much? Like for our kids? It's interesting, but like this article actually goes to the parents.
Right.
They, let's see if I can find this quote here. Is parents initiate and facilitate their children's participation in organized activities as it shows that they are good parents. So there's this idea of like, I want to be seen and known as a good parent for my kids.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting, man, when it comes to like our thoughts of other people's perceptions of us. So as a parent, I want other people to see that I am a good parent because I put my kids in extracurricular activities. Does that see? It sounds weird.
It does sound weird
when you think of it that way.
Right.
Like, wait a minute, what do I care what other people think? Like no, I want to. I want to be a good parent, and so I want to open up a world for my kids. But it gets damaging, I think, when we start thinking, well, no, I got to do this so other people think that I'm a good parent. And so I gotta put my kid in this, and I gotta put my kid in that, and I gotta put my kid in this, put my kid in that. And that could be a sign of like, wow, wait a minute, let me step back here. When we're doing it more for perception of us as parents.
Yeah. So
that's my initial thought.
Yeah, so I totally agree. Like, why do we take some of the big vacations that we take? Why do we pursue the large houses or the nice vehicles? Why do we have to have the top of the line furniture or clothing? Sometimes it's because it's just quality, or sometimes it's a big celebration. But often, truth be told, we're keeping up with the Joneses. And I think in a parenting context, this is another example, or an example of what it's like to keep up with the Joneses when you're comparing calendars, like, oh, well, what are your kids into? X, Y, and Z. Oh, well, my kids are into A, B, C, and D, and E, and F. So therefore, in this parent competition, in this parent comparison, I'm parenting better than you are because my kids are more active. They're busier than your kids. And look, I don't know that most parents go into scheduling activities for their kids with this mindset, or intentionally thinking this, but I think it's more of a subconscious thing where we're comparing ourselves to others and realize, oh, well, everyone else is busy, so I'm not a good parent if my kids aren't busy too, and so therefore I overschedule my kids.
Yeah, and it's, I mean, I think you're right. Like as an outfit, I don't think I do that with that as like, my first thing in mind. Like, it's a challenge. I need to compete with these other parents.
Right.
I will dominate you other parents. Look at my kids go.
It sounds like, petty and selfish when you say it like that.
It's selfish. Yeah, but but subconsciously, I think we can. When you feel like from society, from the community that you live in, from whatever that you have to do this for your kids, or else you suck as a parent.
Yeah.
There could be just drive behind this, man. It's the reason why we'll say yes to $200-$300 pair of shoes. It's the reason why we will splurge on like the ultimate car and be eating peanut butter and jelly, for like a good meal. It's the reason why, like you said, we'll splurge like on the bigger house and whatever. Sometimes it's like, it's because we want to look good.
Yeah.
We want to look good. And man, Mark, that's hard, man.
Yeah.
That's hard not to fall into that trap. And I know for me personally, there's countless stories where, I feel like me and my wife, like we've fallen into the trap of, we have to look like good parents. And so we've foregone wisdom, and we've foregone precious things, like little things that we don't pay attention to, like meal times and family activities and just talks and whatever, because we want to look good as parents. And looking back, it breaks my heart, and we've learned from them, praise God. But like at the same time, like, wow, like, such things lost because we did,
Yeah.
I remember, man, I'll never forget it, man. We were young. We would have had Aaliyah as a baby and actually as a toddler, and then Ashley as a baby. So no, it was before that. Let me take that back.
So you're going way back
Aaliyah
here.
Would have born. I'm going way back. Aaliyah would have still been like in pull-ups. No, she would still been in diapers. And Shannon and I, young, newly married, new parents, and I was driving this Honda Civic, two-door Honda Civic. It was from the 80s, and it was run down and beat down, but man, it was a tank.
Mm-hmm.
It got me
Mm-hmm.
it got us where we wanted to go and back. I didn't have a car payment, you know what I'm saying? And like, it felt good. And then Shannon got pregnant with our second child. We got pregnant with our second child. And Shannon started carrying Ashley. And I remember, like, we were talking about getting a new car. And I was like, you know what? We really don't have the money for it. But I don't want to look like we're traveling around in a crappy car.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I never forget it. And I was like, you know what? I'll just keep the Civic. But, you know, it kept pressing, time kept pressing. Shannon and I kept talking. And I think we eventually, it's like we were talking ourselves into it. So I went down to a car lot and, checked out some cars. And I remember the guy, your spidey senses are tingling, and, I could tell this guy just wanted to sell me this car. And honestly, hey, look, he's just doing his job, right? He's there to sell cars. But for me, there was wisdom saying, you know what? You don't need this right now. It's okay that you're driving this car from the 80s. It's all right. So what if people look at you weird? So what if people look at you funny? But then pressure started pressing, man. You drive up to church and people are, hopping out of these Lexuses and whatever. And, your friends are looking like they're doing financially better than you are. They're looking, quote unquote, like they're doing
Keyword
better than
there,
you are.
the appearance.
And then the pressure of a parent starts pressing on you. And I remember the guy calls me, after a couple months. I let it go, and we stayed with the car that we had. And a guy calls me, the salesman calls me, and he must have been hurting for sales, because he calls me and goes, look, I need to get you into this car. And he probably could have called me to say, hey, can I borrow a cup of yogurt? And I would have said, yes, I will buy the car. Mm-hmm. Because by that time, I was feeling the pressure, and I went down there, and it wasn't even the car I wanted, Mark.
Wow.
It was simply, it was new. It had 4 doors and it was new.
Yep.
And people would look at us like, yo, your family got it going on. You're a good husband. You're a good dad. Look at you providing a good car for your family. That's all that was speaking in my ear. And I got a car that I didn't even want. I would never buy this car. But I did.
Yeah.
And it was because of pressure, man. It was because of pressure. And, looking back now, I'm older and wiser. I wouldn't do it again, man. I wouldn't do it again. But I did it. And it was because I felt the pressure to be a good husband, to be a good dad.
Yeah.
And I ended up doing something that I didn't even want to have as a piece of equipment. It wasn't even practical. It didn't work. Financially didn't work. It wasn't, me and Shannon still talk about it. We laugh about it. Yeah. I can't believe we got that car. What? How did he sucker us into this? The guy didn't sucker nobody. We fell into the trap of a parent.
Yeah.
And we did something that we wish we just didn't do.
Yeah, that story has so many similarities, so many different applications. It just, for you guys, it presented with a vehicle. In the context here, it presents as we need to give our kids all these activities. We need to run them around. You said I would never have bought that car. I didn't even want that car. It was just this appearance that it represented. I wonder how many parents are so busy that they're like, I don't really want to be this busy. I don't want to crash in bed late at night and have to get up and do it all again the next day. Or I don't want to be constantly on the go. Or I don't want to miss the family meal time or the family game time or the family play time, whatever it is that's missing because there's so many activities. I imagine that many parents feel like you. I don't want this car, so to speak, and yet I need to. I need to, because if I don't, then I'm failing my kids, or I'm not keeping up with those around me.
It's interesting too, because it's on one side, it's I think we as parents, there's tells that we're pushing too much as a parent, right? It's like, we're coming home tired. We can't remember the last time we had a meal together. We can't remember the last time that we did some kind of like activity together as a family, whether even if it's just sit on a porch together, right? And just chill and talk. Like I remember, I look, Mark, some of the best conversations I've had is my kids like literally sitting on top of the kitchen counters, one propped up against the refrigerator, someone pulls up a chair and we're laughing, telling stories.
Yeah.
Do you remember when, or Dad, how about that day when you said, like, it just uproarious laughter and how much good that did us. You know what I mean? How close that brought. Like, remember, we can't remember even times of that.
Yeah.
So because we are just pushing.
Yep.
Because we want to keep up with the parents. But there's also the side of like, you know what? We just don't know how to say no to our kids.
Yeah.
Like we don't know how to say, you know what? Look, Tony, I love you. We love you, but no.
Yeah.
Or look, Cheryl, we love you. We care about you. And we're just going to have to tell you no.
Yeah.
Like no to the fourth sport of the year. Like why not? And we get like, for me, like telling my kids no means having to build a case or argument. And case or argument means I have to act like a lawyer with my kids. And like, there's part of me that's like, gets scared because sometimes I feel like I don't really have a good argument for you, except for all I have to tell you is that experience and wisdom says, don't do this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even though the world is saying, go do that. Look, I'm telling you, listen, look at me, look me in the eye as your dad. Look at your mom in her eyes as your mom. We are telling you that this is a bad idea. So we're going to help you say no by telling you no. You know what I mean? And so, but kids don't want to hear that these days, right? They don't want to hear the experience and wisdom. They need to have the knowledge. And sometimes I feel like we as parents, we lack the knowledge and intellect, to really fight with our kids. So there's that, the wisdom and experience side of it that we feel like that is good enough, but the knowledge that we lack. Or two, for me, sometimes when I say no to my kids, like I don't want to say no because I know they're going to be like, well, Dad, and I'm just going to fly off the handle as a father and go, you know what? I'm your dad. So no, just deal with it. Yeah. And then it brings a big divide. And so I hate those two. Those two are my foes when it comes to me telling my kids no. Yeah. Like I don't have the intellect to tell them no. The reasons to back it up, I just have wisdom and experience is not good enough for them. Or I don't want to fly off the handle. I don't want to get too angry. I don't want to just be like, because I said so, because then it causes a greater divide. Yeah, it disrupts a relationship. And maybe the relationship is already struggling and you don't want to make it any worse. The article references just a couple of considerations when you're trying to say no or building a case. It's like, one, do we have the financial resources to do this? Two, do we have the time resources to do this? Or what's, in business terminology, what's the opportunity cost? If we do this, what do we then miss out on that we don't have opportunity for? And the other thing that I would add is this idea, this philosophy that we're a family first. We're not a bunch of individuals, or the parents don't just exist to serve the kids. Now, there's a part of it there, right? We do serve our children in many ways, but we're a family first. It's this family-centric philosophy versus the kid-centric philosophy. And really that's what we have tried to operate under in our family, that how does this affect the whole family? Not just how does this affect you, but
how does this affect all of us? And quite honestly, man, I am not a high energy guy. I need downtime. And so I'm taking myself into consideration here when we're talking
Sure, yeah.
about running around and transporting late at night, early in the morning, whatever it is. I'm looking at my own energy capacity and thinking this might tap me out, and that's not good because
Yeah, man.
because
Yeah, man.
when I'm spent, then I don't show up in a full and complete way to fulfill my responsibilities as a husband, as a father, and everybody else suffers as a result. So anyway, just thinking about it from the standpoint of resources. Do we have the money? Do we have the time? Does this fit into our goals as a family unit, not just as individuals? I feel like those types of ideas could serve people well.
Yeah, and not only as ideas, but like as conversational pieces, like it to, so I presented what those are my fears are in the back of my head, right? The fear of not having enough knowledge, and the fear of like, do I really want to die on this hill?
Right. Is this fight worth it?
Yeah. Is it worth it? But when we think of it in the other terms of like, no, let's have a conversation about this. And let's talk this through. It takes vulnerability, right?
Yes.
To be able to say to your child, you know what, we kind of don't have the money for this. This is what this means. If we do this extracurricular activity, then that means that other things, because we don't have the money, other things will have to fall to the wayside. So when other things fall to the wayside, as a family, we're going to feel it, and here's how we're going to feel it. Mm-hmm. Or you know what, we can do this when it comes financially, but like let's also look at like as far as time and who's all involved in this family doing this, and what is going to take for us to do it. Are you kidding me? We're only going to come home from school for a quick second and rush back out. Like there's no dinner time. Like there's no mom and dad, you don't even have time to like prep for the next thing or for the next family issue or deal that's coming up the line. Like, wow, I didn't know it would mean all that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so, we wouldn't get home till like 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. And then we got to get up, it takes an hour or so to get ready for bed. And then we got to get up like at 5, 6 in the morning. Oh man, that doesn't make sense. Let's give us a full 8 hours of sleep. Like, so the conversation will probably bring up a lot of stuff that will help make turn the light bulbs on in a lot of people's heads in the family conversation.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, I love that idea. That always works, and we tend to do that. We tend to like have a conversation. People, you know what, Mark? Like, not a lot of families have conversations, man. Like when we talk through like everything that happens in the family. We call them family meetings. And so we'll get together on Sunday night and have a family meeting. And then like throughout the week, they would be sporadic. So like, they never happen the same day during the week, but we know on Sunday nights, we're going to have a family meeting where we get together, we discuss the week, we talk about what's coming up, what needs to happen so that the week happens for our family.
Yeah. And
it's really a good time, man. It's fun. It's a blast. It allows the kids to share like their hearts, and, me and Shannon to share our hearts and, bring stuff up that maybe other people in the family are thinking about and whatever. It's a fun time. But then during the week, we have times where it's just like, there's a text that goes out, family meeting, 5 o'clock at the house, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And everybody shows up. What's going on? Who called it? Well, we want to talk about a dog. But we consider it as important because it's important that if it's important to one of us, it should be important to all of us.
Yeah, I like
that.
And
so even, you know what I mean? So it's like, dude, like we want to talk about a dog. Okay, what about it? You want to get one? Well, this is what it will mean if we got a dog. All right, everybody's got their research. Go talk about it. Go research on your own. And then on Sunday, we'll come together and talk together as a family. So it's like it helps. Like when we take it as a conversation, it takes less stress off of dad having to be like this boss and his mom having to be this boss. And it comes to more of like, no, we're a family and we're going to work together as a family.
Yeah.
You know, we each have our roles, but like, we're still a family and we could work this through and talk this through.
There's so many good things that can come from that, even difficult conversations, you know,
Oh yeah.
Showing your kids how to work through difficult conversations, showing one kid that the other kids are just as important, because we're giving everybody equal opportunity here. The importance of being together. You may not always agree, but we're together as a team, you know, as a family unit. Unfortunately, you're right. For various reasons, not the least of which is overscheduling. There just aren't enough opportunities in families today to have those conversations, to communicate together, and to be a team. And I think really that's the message that we're trying to send through this discussion is when you create space in your schedule for things like this to happen, or for organic things to happen, there's so many benefits. And yet when you're overbooked, you're overscheduled in your individual life, in your work life, in your social life, in your kids' life, you just essentially schedule out the opportunity for these types of things to happen. And unfortunately, it's all too common today.
Yeah, man. Yeah, dude. So look, dads who are listening, let's slow down. I guess that's part of the talk for today is like, let's slow down.
Yeah.
Let's figure out ways to slow down. Let's not be afraid to tell our kids no. And yes to space, and let's not be like caught up by the appearance monster. You know what? God blessed you with your kids. God blessed you with your son. In this case, we talk about next man up. And the only person that we have to look good for is God, and he already loves us. So we already got a check in that one. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And so we could just put our attention on being good dads and creating space for our kids. Yeah. Let them be creative. Yeah. Let him have the ability to have somewhere where he can expend energy and, be part of a community. But at the same time, let's not forget what's really important and create space for it.
Yep.
Family is that. And so rock and roll.
Yep. That's good, man. Rock and roll. Well, let's call it there. Good topic today. And as always, listeners, if you're interested in passing some feedback, it's feedback@thenextmanup.com. We'd love to hear from you.
All right. Mark, thanks for having me on show, man. As always, love partnering with you, man.
Always. Adios, amigo. Hey, listeners, thanks for journeying with us on this Next Man Up podcast. We would love to hear from you. Maybe you have a question or an idea, perhaps a topic for us to consider. If that's you and you want to reach out to us, you can get us at feedback@thenextmanup.com. That's feedback@thenextmanup.com. Again, we'd love to hear from you. Until next time, we'll see you later.